Hey guys, today's video is super exciting for me to film because I'm going to talk about the comparison between my Coastal Scents palette. I'll talk about which one I have and all that in a second, and my e.l.f. 100 eyeshadow palette, which I just got, and I made a video about kind of like my first thoughts about it, so that's already up if you want to go watch that. Yeah, so I'm just going to get right into it. This is actually a video requested by one of the sweetest girls ever, probably, and that's BeautyBaby03, so I'll link her down below and I'll tag her in the tags section down below. And so I want to say thank you so much for requesting. This is my first request, and yeah, for being such like a loyal subscriber and kind of like all your input and commenting on videos and stuff like that, because it really just kind of makes my day whenever I get a comment like mail thing in the inbox. So thank you so much. So shout out to her. Yeah, so here goes. Okay. Yeah, so this is the e.l.f. 100 eyeshadow palette, which I've shown you before, and the Coastal Scents one that I have actually is not the colors are not going to be very comparable to the ones in here, but I'm just going to do the palettes kind of in general because yeah, just as kind of more overall overview. Yeah, so if you see this, it kind of reminds me, and this is also kind of what Emily Noel brought up in her review of this too, of a cross between the 88 Shimmer with the bright colors on this side and the 88 Warm, because it's got the brights and then the neutrals, but there's not like a whole bunch of like chunky glitter like shimmer or frost in here. It's mostly kind of satin or matte. Yeah, so that's what this looks like, and I don't have the warm or the shimmer, just like I said. So I have the Coastal Scents 88 Metal Mania, which has the more shimmery, frosty, kind of metallic colors, and it looks like this. Sorry, I have to hold it up really awkwardly, that I'll talk about in a second, but yeah, it looks like that. You guys can see that. Yeah, so to get right into it, alright, so I have notes right here to kind of keep everything together. Okay, the e.l.f. one, you get 100 eyeshadows for $10, so if you do the math, it's 10 cents an eyeshadow. So like, for example, the value of like this shadow in terms of this palette, if it was sold by itself, would be 10 cents. The Coastal Scents is 88. You get 88 colors for $24.95. That price actually might change. I'm not exactly sure if that's correct, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Okay, so that equals out to be about 28 cents per eyeshadow. So you pay more for the Coastal Scents and less for the e.l.f. one, which I'm sure you guys probably all guessed. Okay, so both palettes have a mirror and two double-sided applicators if you're kind of like a fan of either bringing these while traveling or doing them kind of like at your vanity or your like makeup desk. I have like a makeup desk, and using like, since it's all connected, you have the shadows at the bottom and a mirror right here. It's kind of handy. Yeah, and also for traveling, and the two double-sided applicators if you're traveling and forget your brushes, for instance, maybe, or those actually can be very helpful when applying color to the lid because it really packs it on. Okay, the pigmentation of both is, I would say equally. There's always going to be the colors that you love that are super like stand out, like wow, I can't believe that that's so pigmented for the price I just paid for, you know? And then of course, because you buy so many and it's not like a high-end product, that you're going to be assured that it's like long wearing, like 24/7 pigmentation, there's going to be those colors that you don't necessarily like, or for pigmentation reasons or just colors in general, but the palette is such a good kind of like investment that you're going to get a good deal out of it kind of no matter what. Okay, so the e.l.f. one can be bought in stores, but I actually just recently saw it in my Target, and I've been looking for it for kind of like a long time, and I think they sell out really, really fast because people love these. Oprah also loves it too. It's kind of like one of her favorites. The coastal scents can't, so if you're kind of like me and you don't necessarily like buying things online, like you will if you want to try something like that, which it is a good try. Not try, but like good buy, I guess, is the more correct way of saying that. So yeah, I just don't really like waiting or paying for shipping. I also don't know if Elephant Coastal Scents is international. So if you know that, you should comment below. But okay, now I'm going to get into the good and the bad of each and then kind of like wrap it all up. Okay, so this one, if I'm setting it on my table when I do my makeup, I don't like holding palettes. I just find it to be too overwhelming and like, I don't know, it's too heavy kind of. So this sits on a table just like this. It will sit just like that, just like a book. So if I'm like sitting like this, the mirror will be right like that. And yeah, I don't have to put like a book behind it to keep it from falling down. While on the other hand, as I'm sure you guys can guess, this one just falls flat open like a book. It does not stay up, as you can see, and I have to put a book behind it, which is annoying. What was I gonna say? Okay, so this, like the hinging kind of this one is way more like, it's way stronger, I guess, to hold it up. Yeah, so it's more stronger, and then like the packaging itself is so nice. Like it's very thick, as you can see that, and it's very like, I'm sure durable. I've never brought this anywhere, but it's very thick. It doesn't kind of, you know, it's not like floppy and flimsy. You're kind of afraid of like picking it up that things are gonna like get all jumbled up. This one, on the other hand, okay, this is very flimsy. It doesn't shut all the way, as you can see. At least on mine it doesn't, so that's really dumb. And then of course the hinging's not as good because it doesn't keep up the mirror. Yeah, alright, so my biggest con of the Coastal Scents, and I know this happens to a lot of other people too when they get this, it's so annoying. Like actually, it's not even like a small thing, like this could be like a deal breaker for some people. And it's, I'm not going to show it because, yeah, it's, if you tip it too far, well, this is why I hold it kind of awkwardly. If you tip it too far forward, the colors are going to fall out. They are all magnetized, but it just kind of shows that the construction of this palette is not that great because they do fall out. Like I've filmed this 3 times already actually. Each time, about 20 of them fall over my ground. None of them shattered though, which is good, but it's kind of annoying because colors are going to get most likely messed up, and I know some of mine are, but yeah. Oh, one thing before I get into goods and bads, just 1 second. Okay, if you buy one of these palettes and you become overwhelmed kind of at the very vast selection of colors, what I've noticed is that rose tend to have kind of similar, like the same finish or same shade, so like just play with any of those colors, kind of doing like an eye look, just putting them in like the basic like application to be the most basic of eyes, most complicated of eyes, and it's going to give you a look that matches and is going to be very beautiful. So yeah, that's also good. Okay, so that's an extremely annoying thing about this. So I do have to keep this over it when I close it and move it around so it doesn't get all jumbled up. Yeah, the elf one happened too. Throw it away. So if you're kind of seeing where I'm going with this, all the good things about the elf, all the bad things about this one. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to show you also the size really quickly compared to the ones in the thing. So I'm going to just tip this a little bit, and yeah, did you hear that? About 5 fell out. So that's going to be fun to pick up later. Okay, so here's one right here. A lot of people don't realize that these are very small. They're actually about the size of a dime. That's pretty much the exact, how much time do I have left? 6 minutes or something? I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same size as a dime. So compared to that, wait, that's gonna show weird. Can you see that? Like that kind of? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, these don't fall out. Like, see, like this doesn't do anything. If I did that to that one, they would be all over the place. Like, they would be picking them up until next week. Yeah, so as you guys probably guessed, as much as I love the Coastal Scents palette, when I bought it at first I was like in love with it. I thought it was like amazing. This one's kind of the better deal. Even if you don't necessarily like all the shades, like I'm not a huge fan of like bright shades really. Well, I am, of course, and